Tim Scott from the great state of South Carolina. Maybe you were the same. Those were the happiest 4 years of my life, kindergarten. How about you?
You know, I only spent 3 years in kindergarten, but I will say that Carrie reminds me of a beautiful teacher in South Carolina named Trey, who's also a kindergarten teacher who loves her students and goes back to the classroom. And kids like you and I, we may have spent a total of 7 years in kindergarten together, Trey. But the truth of the matter is those teachers changed my life like they changed your life. I would not be in politics today had a teacher, a young teacher, not saw something in me that I could not see myself. And she said, son, you talk too much, but why don't you run for student council? It changed the way I saw the world. And the other thing that Carrie talked about is the emotional damage being done to kids. In Las Vegas, they're rushing to open the schools back up because the suicides are climbing through the roof, Trey.
I think you are the co-sponsor of an amendment, maybe with Senator Blount from Missouri, that's kind of conditioning the money on returning to the classroom. Is that right?
Absolutely. We can't, I mean, the hypocrisy of the left, they say they want to follow the science. The CDC says open the schools. The Biden administration says, nah, we'll wait and follow something else. We had an opportunity last night, Senator Blount and I, promoting a simple amendment to allow for schools to reopen, get more money once the teachers have been vaccinated. They wouldn't even agree to that. Fact is, in December, we approved $82 billion to reopen schools. They still won't do it. I'm stunned, Trey, truly stunned.
Well, it's one thing for me to be stunned. I'm not in the United States Senate, but you are, and you're trying to do something about your state of stunment. I mean, you're trying to condition the money on getting back in the classroom. But I want to ask you this, and I can't tell the story because I'm going to start crying, and I don't want to cry on television. But can you tell the story of what education has meant in your own family, how it's changed the course, the trajectory of the Scott family's life?
You know, Trey, when I was 7 years old, my parents divorced, and I ended up moving into my grandfather's house. And one of the most striking memories I have, sharp memories, is my grandfather reading the newspaper every single day at the table. And I was wondering, what in the world is so interesting in that paper? It was 20 years later before I realized that my grandfather could not read. He wanted us to have a model to follow of someone who was so engaged in world affairs that his two grandsons would understand the power of reading and the power of education. It's because of his example that the Scott family went from picking cotton when he was a kid to picking a seat in Congress. So from cotton to Congress in his lifetime, because the power of education is truly the closest thing to magic in America. It doesn't matter where you're from, who you are, or what color you are. In America, education can close the gap and make you actually achieve dreams that are barely outside of your grasp, but you can get there. And in this country, you get there.
So your grandfather, who never had the chance to learn to read or write, has a grandson who's picking out a seat in the House and in the Senate, may run for president. And then you've got a nephew who's a medical doctor after he got his master's at Duke, and he's a medical doctor now, right?
Well, exactly. And this is a story of America. And this is why I think the most important issue for us as a nation to close that chasm, the gap between the haves and the have-nots, it's not focusing on race. It's not focusing on money. It's focusing on education. My nephew, who has, he's the smartest, best-looking Scott. He is the heir to the Scott throne. It's a small throne, but he gets it all. And literally, the guy went to Georgia Tech, then he went to Duke, medical school at Emory. He is going to change lives in ways that I could not imagine, and he's also an investor. This is the fourth generation following my grandfather's focus on education. And when we tell American students to stay home, when we tell single mothers that they must be homeschoolers and go to work, but not take their kids, we are sending very garbled, mixed messages that are hard to follow. But if we understand the power of education, if we set that captive free, if we allow kids to literally experience the highest highs, to see their dreams becoming a reality, to chase them, our nation is better. But when we keep the kids at home when they should be in school, their learning goes down, their emotional challenges go up, their futures and our nation's future grows darker and darker and darker. They deserve better from us. They deserve better from the Biden administration than that. We have to focus on getting those kids back in school.
Well, Senator, thank you for looking out for the students of America like those teachers looked out for the Scott family in Charleston. God bless you. I'll talk to you this weekend. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Look forward to it.